You're listening to WMNF Tampa, music and news.
WMNF Tampa and WMNF HD1, building a better world, one important news story and great song at a time.
Find the shadows cast by rainbows, there you'll meet the sage. Feeding rabbits bits of lettuce, or cleaning out the cage. He can give you more direction than you've ever known. Show you your brown baby shoes now, my how you have grown. Ain't it nice to fly, you're waving as soft clouds go by, but peace won't be still of its own free will. Say you want to go exploring, you got to find some truth. You can't stand one more day of Christians shouting down at you. You say you don't dig politics, that never was your bag. People who could run for office wave their private flags. Ain't it nice to fly, you're waving as soft clouds go by, but peace won't be still of its own free will.
Hi, I'm Gus.
Big man,
Hey, this is Patrick from the Black Keys. You're listening to WMNF 88.5 Community Radio.
ain't it nice to fly, you're waving as soft clouds go by, but peace won't be still of its own free will. My Lord.
You're listening to the Sunday Forum with Walter L. Smith II. Walter?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Sunday Forum on WMNF 88.5 Tampa, Sarasota, St. Pete. This is your host, Walter L. Smith II, the voice of the Tampa Bay area, along with the members of the Fourth Estate crew. MB, what's going on with you, brother?
Not a whole lot. A whole lot, but pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good this morning.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm feeling good too, man. Hey, listen, despite everything else, you know what happened this weekend. FAMU Rattlers won. We went to strike, and strike again against the Alcorn State Braves. Yes. The Rattlers won 33-28. 33-28 at homecoming, meaning this is a streak. This is a win streak. A 7-game homecoming win streak. Yes, the Rattlers are doing it again. Makes me feel good, brother. Makes me feel good. Yes, sir. So, another thing that happened this weekend during homecoming, gotta tell you, congratulations to the Humphreys family, to the family of President Frederick S. Humphreys. They unveiled a statue, a great statue, a likeness of President Humphreys on campus this weekend for homecoming. So congratulations to the Humphreys family and the memory of President Frederick S. Humphreys. He was my president during the time that I was there as a student, and, you know, he did great works there, great works during the time from 85 on. I think he was the longest serving president of Florida A&M University. And he did a great job, did a wonderful job with the PR and everything. And student enrollment increased tremendously under his administration at FAMU. And the programs that were put in place by my father prior to his arrival began to flourish greatly. So we're very, very glad to have that likeness of President Humphreys on campus. All right, so here, FAMU won homecoming.
Yeah.
You know, very happy about that. The likeness of President Humphreys on campus, and FAMU continues to live on. And long live FAMU. And hopefully we'll see have a better record this year, as we are right now at 2-4. So, you know, it's not the end of the season. We got a lot more to do. What we know for certain is, come November time, we're going to whoop up on them Wildcats in Orlando at the Florida Classic.
All right.
All right.
We're listening to the Marching 100 in the background right now. This is their tribute to Bob Marley.
Yes.
So just wanted to throw that in. That's a very special gem of Florida, is that Marching 100 band.
The Marching 100, baby. That's right. Never duplicated. Often imitated, but never duplicated, baby. Never duplicated. Hey, listen, this is the Sunday Forum, and we are here this morning to open up lines to folks to talk to us about some of the things that are happening in the community. One of the things we're going to talk about today is what we need to do now under this regime, under this federal regime. Things are looking bleak, looking rough right now. I know there are a lot of people out there that are scared. There are also a lot of people out there who are confused. How can this happen? Why is it happening? And I could give some scathing answers, like, you let it happen because you didn't vote. I could give all types of answers. You didn't educate yourself well, before voting. Not enough people came out to vote. I can come up with all types of answers, and you've heard them all on broader media stations and so forth. But that's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. We're here for now is to come up with solutions on the Sunday Forum as to how we can continue to thrive under this regime that has done so much damage. I mean, damage to the American reputation, to societies and communities, both at home and abroad. And what we need to do in order to survive is made up of a formula, basically. And there's no silver bullet. There's no silver bullet. These are just suggestions and based on observations that I've made, and that MB and Miss Annie and I have made, and we're putting all this stuff together because we talked about these things with you before, and there's no need for, again, for us to go into any rants about any craziness that's happened. However, having said that, I think it's important for us to note that we need to understand where we are in order to understand where we're going. We have witnessed this weekend a protest of epic proportions in this country. Epic proportions. Most of the major cities in the United States have participated in what you call No King's Day protest. No King's Day protest, the protest that has formulated and formed based on the actions of this administration, of this regime.
And this regime, this presidency is the most unpopular in American history.
It's the most unpopular and certainly the most un-American. It goes against any ideal, if you will, the ideal. Hear what I said? Ideal concept of what this country is supposed to be about, right? And when we talk about the American dream, what are we talking about? We're talking about the ability of people to be able to come to this country or be born in this country and have freedoms that you won't find anywhere else in the world. And those freedoms are based on a document that we know as the Constitution. And they have fundamentally stripped and bastardized the Constitution and made a mockery of even the military service, especially the military service, of so many millions of people who have served this country in warfare and in defense of that Constitution. What does it mean anymore is a question that people are asking. What does it mean? For you to stand before military leadership, demand that they show up in a hall, an assembly hall, for you to allow for this regime to stand before them and allow them, and to stand before these people and to admonish them as though they're children. The people who serve this country are being talked down to by people who never served this country in any real capacity ever. Right? And if they did, it was under disgrace. When you see that happen, that's a problem. You can imagine what that would do and has done for morale, especially amongst leadership.
Right.
When you think about the damage that has been done to the morale of American people, to know that you have 3 more years, hopefully less, if we can get this guy impeached and removed. 3 more years of a regime that has done far more harm than good. A narcissist led by a narcissist who believes that he deserves to have the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm blown. I'm at a loss. That this man, if you want to call him a man, actually believes that he deserves to have the Nobel Peace Prize. For what exactly? For what exactly? Do you deserve to have the Nobel Peace Prize for what you're doing in the Middle East?
And that's
I
far
can go
from
through a
done.
whole analysis of the history of the Middle East and come to this point, and this will be the most disastrous presidency that has ever been involved in Middle Eastern events. The potential for what could happen there under this, with this man being involved in the process under what they call a peacekeeping. How do you call yourself being involved in a peacekeeping discussion with one of the belligerents not present? I'm trying to understand that. Trying to comprehend that. What do you call the? How do you justify that one of the belligerents would dare to bomb one of your allies? I'm still trying to figure that one out. Still trying to an ally bombing another ally. Wow.
Embarrassing.
More than embarrassing. And then on top of that, I guess to appease that, they would take that same ally with whom people have a lot of questions and allow them to have a military base on American soil? Really? What does that say for national security? So let's move away from that particular area and let's talk about how this leadership that believes it should have a Nobel Peace Prize talks down to an attacked belligerent, the attacked, referring to the Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
On international TV. Still trying to figure that one out. Perhaps the most embarrassing set and sequence of words and exchanges ever to be held in the White House, publicly. Still trying to figure that one out, but you deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. Okay, let's talk about what's happening right here in this country. On American soil, this president has determined that it's okay, along with those who follow him, think that it's okay to just label a whole group of people who are immigrants criminals. It's okay to do that. To label them illegals after he removed temporary protection. He removed temporary protection. So then that means that the line for, or the pathway to legal status in the United States now has been taken away from these groups of people. Help me understand it. Help it make sense. Help me to understand it. Help me and help me to make it make sense. I'm really trying to understand. Help me to comprehend how it is that you have a pathway to legal status in this country when your temporary protection status has been taken away. It's not like becoming an American citizen is something that's very easy to do. It's not like there isn't money that's involved in the process. It's not like those people who are looking for temporary protection status are not looking for protection from the countries from which they come due to the status of the countries that they're coming from. Still trying to figure that one out. If anybody can help me to understand that, please call 813-239-9663. If you can help me to understand that, how this man deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, I really, really need to understand that. Anybody that's out there that believes that that's the case, I really want you to help me to understand why. Maybe it's something I'm missing completely. Okay? Let's look at what has been done to immigrants and look at and understand the fact that his entire family is made up of immigrants. And let's look at the fact that this country, outside of the native people of this country, there is everybody comes from somewhere else.
Right. To understand the policy from my perspective, I think is if you see it as being racist and inhumane, then you go a long way into understanding that in that this regime is all about limiting who has rights in this country, who's even considered a citizen, so that they can limit the rights of said groups. So, we've seen this historically. We're seeing it playing out once again here in the United States. So, it's clear they are following this authoritarian playbook from ages, bygone ages. We think of 1919 all the way through World War II, and we're seeing this playbook playing itself out once again by design, and they're trying purposely to limit people's rights. But I thought with the No Kings March, what was interesting, especially in the news update that we just heard, were people in ruby red Mississippi who were farmers were coming out marching against this regime because they see and feel the impact of these idiotic policies. And they're not, they thought they might have been protected from the inhumanity of these policies, but they're not. As farmers, they're finding that they are just as victimized by these tariffs as everybody else, as the other countries that they thought were going to only be impacted by them. And we just see the incompetence, So we're hearing him saying the dear leader saying that he's going to use the money raised from the tariffs to give to the farmers. But if you hadn't had the tariffs in the first place, you wouldn't have to give this extra money to the farmers. So this is a policy that you created in the first place. So because you misunderstand economics generally, this is an incompetent president. And so I thought that it was instructive to know that those were people from ruby red states were also coming out marching against this king.
Keep in mind, MB. Keep in mind, it's been estimated that there are nearly 7 million Americans that participated in this. 7 million Americans participated in the No King's Day protest. That's the estimation.
Yeah, and this was the third wave of a protest since he retook office.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Absolutely. I mean, this is not a joke. This is very serious. That put a real serious statement real serious, a very serious exclamation point, not a period, but exclamation point behind the demand for his removal.
Yeah, but there's no courage in the Senate, I don't believe.
Absolutely spineless, completely spineless. And you know who's really spineless? The GOP.
For sure.
They're allowing this to happen, knowing that they disagree with it, knowing that these things are not that they're in dissent, knowing that this is the case, they still allow it to happen. But at what cost? At what cost? You know? And then you have, you know, we have, I'm concerned with the other side because, you know, where's the leadership? Who's going to be the person to put up, you know, in the next election? Who's it going to be? What are we talking about here?
Well, we got to get through the midterms first.
These farmers. Where are the discussions with the farmers that have been having these difficulties? We saw. I'm totally shocked that has not been. I'm totally surprised that the Democrats have not taken full advantage of this opportunity to assist farmers, especially. I say that not just because I'm a farmer, but because we're looking at a very serious time with regard to food and supplies and produce that are coming that are produced by farmers. Perhaps the most important group on American soil when it comes down to that. And, you know, we're seeing this side go online to try to get support, and the federal government is shut down. So much so that they would sit there and they would actually reduce themselves to putting a banner on there, right? Let everybody know that it is the fault of the left.
Yeah, very politicized.
Very
partisan.
politicized, very childish. Not taking any responsibility for what's going on their end. But then, of course, you know, the Democrats have got to make sure that they are doing everything they can to assist in this. If the Republicans are not this, and I hate to say it that way, but if we look at that from that perspective, we need to start taking advantage of it. But then the other part of it is how do we actually go back and make sense of what's happening and find a way to do for self as people, just as people, as American people who have been taken advantage of. This is a Ponzi scheme, man. What we're actually going through a Ponzi scheme. We've been dealt a bill of goods, right? We've been told, and sold a bill of goods, and we've been dealt nothing. That's a better way to put it. We've been sold a bill of goods, we've been dealt nothing. We are in the world, on the world stage. We are an embarrassment. Name one country, if you will, and there probably is only one country that's of any substance that actually thinks that that we're held in high esteem, that really hold us in high esteem. Name one.
No.
There isn't one.
Yeah, I'm still racking my
brain. On the world
brain.
stage, they are looking for the first opportunity. The first opportunity discredit us. And he's given every opportunity for that to happen. Every opportunity for it to happen. Listen, the world economy is struggling basically because of, and understand, I'm partly glad that those countries are struggling because of the fact that they once held colonial siege to African nations.
Yeah.
And now you see what those countries are really made of. France, you know who you are. England, you know what it is. When you start to see these countries, African nations, ousting these colonial rules from their nation. Once colonial rule has been ousted from the nations, the products that they used to be able to take control of, they no longer have control of. France is suffering right now. France is suffering right now. Because the resources that they used to be able to get at will from the what we know as Francophone nation, right?
From their
They
colonies.
can't just grab them anymore. They're not being produced anymore. Not in those nations. Not in those nations anymore. They can just take them, produce them where they are, and then sell them back to those countries at some extraordinary price. No, can't do that anymore. That's not happening. But I digress. This regime has supported that type of behavior. They look to when we talk back to immigration, go back to immigration issues, they look to European nations and European immigrants coming into this country. And they don't look to African immigrants. They don't look to Asian immigrants. They don't look to England. They look to European immigrants. And that has been stated. Their actions show it, but that has been stated. The racism that exudes from their pores is disgusting. Disgusting. They show it even in the military and the policies that they have in the military. Absolutely disgusting. Anyway, call in 813-239-9663. Do you have any calls, MB?
Certainly.
All right.
And you can also write.
All right.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the Sunday Forum.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
This is Eduardo here. And first, let me bring up a stat I saw yesterday. 50% of parents are paying for their son and daughters to pay for their rent or car, you name it. And this week, I think here in the city is important because we have the runoff between Mr. Scott and Mrs. Young. So I want to get your thoughts on, what's coming ahead this week with that election.
Walter?
Well, there are a couple of things to keep in mind here. One is that we are at a crossroads with regard to this, with this election. Number one, because it is a temporary election, and we have to keep in mind that that there will be a full-fledged election to follow, right? The person who serves now will help in transition to reach that point. That's the first thing. The person who serves now will be critical in helping to make several very serious decisions. as we see some transitions that are taking place in the city, and as we are approaching a mayoral election, we also have to keep in mind that the district that they are running in has been historically known as the Black District. And yet it does, in fact, hold some very serious considerations. Why? Because as we are looking at a community that has a CRA, right? That has seen gentrification of epic proportions. We've seen mass exodus of people from the community. We are seeing a transformation in that community, or the communities within District 5. That is a big issue, a very big issue. And that person who's going to be in that seat has got to be able to address those issues in a very positive way for the people who are currently living in that community, first and foremost. First and foremost. One of the issues that if we were to dive in, one of the issues that we have to take a look at is housing. That must be addressed. That must be addressed. But in order to address the issue of housing, we have to take a very serious look at a couple of things. One, we have to wipe the slate clean and take a very serious look at the manner in which housing has been handled. Why do we need housing? That's the first thing. What is the purpose of us needing housing? Well, number one, we have a population of people who are coming into the city, and this is supposed to be the best city in the world to live in, right? Okay. Or the best city in the U.S. to live in. Okay. Please explain to me why it is that housing in this city is beginning to crash. The reason it's beginning to crash is because of greed. Because you have a segment of developers that are out there that are building homes at extraordinary prices, and it does not match the workforce. It does not match the workforce. It does not match the income of the people who live in that community. Not a good thing. We've got several issues inside of that have to be addressed. That's why I said we have to take a look at what's happening, at the detail of what's happening. We have to wipe the slate clean and take a clear look at what's happening. The workforce has got to be addressed. Jobs have got to be addressed. Homelessness has got to be addressed.
That would be bad.
Homelessness happens in several different levels and for several different reasons. Not just one reason, but several. One of them has to do with the fact that you have housing that is out of reach. That's become out of reach. Let me restate that. One of the reasons is because we have housing that has become out of reach. And when you have housing that has become out of reach because of pricing, well, we have to start asking another question. Why is that? Could it be because we have materials that are expensive? Could it also be because land has been made to be more expensive than it actually is worth? And that is being done. Could it also be that is being done on purpose in order to make certain that a certain segment of our community and of our city and society is not able to move back in or to stay where they are? Could that possibly be it?
Sound like all of them means greed. Greed is keeping people locked out.
That's what it is across the board. So there are several reasons why and several things that need to be addressed. That and housing is one. The next issue is the workforce, which is a part of that issue. If the workforce is not addressed right here, right now, in some very serious ways, then we are going to have a major problem in this city. I'm going to say it again. If the workforce is not addressed in some major ways, right here, right now, in this city, we're going to have some very serious issues. I'm telling you right now, it has been an issue when I ran. It was an issue before I ran, and it continues to be an issue in this city. This regime is not helping anything. It has empowered people to do things that has made things worse. So these people, whomever they are, whichever one wins, has got to be able to address these issues and understand something. I don't give a damn who the mayor is. Whoever the mayor is, whoever wins this mayoral election, let me tell you something. They better buckle up. I know on this show, if we don't see some changes that are major changes that are going to help these people around, on this show, we're going to give them hell. Absolute hell. We are giving no quarter. None. I'm telling you, if the workforce is not addressed, we're going to have some problems. It does not match the housing that's coming in. The ability of to help people be able to compete and live in this particular global market, global economic market, is not there. We have a port, and there are people who can't get a job there. There are jobs there, but there are people out there who cannot get a job there. With all the development that's going on out there and all the abilities of people to go out there and get jobs, why aren't they able to get the jobs and keep them? Could it possibly be because of immigration rules? And because protection statuses have been removed?
Yeah, we know that people are afraid to come out and go to work anymore because of the immigration raids.
Right.
And the fear of deportation.
It might actually be absolutely legal. It might actually be completely legal. But these people will arrest them, hold them. They may not see the light of day for a whole month. What does that do to a family?
And speaking of immigrants, the people who are out, who are looking for asylum, this is a very special group, now have to wait outside the United States in the process. So they're in limbo because of these policies.
What did I just say? What did I just say? And go back to countries that are looking to kill them and their families.
We do have some more calls before we go to the break.
So there's a lot to consider with this election. This is not just a simple fix, sir. When it comes to this issue, both Bishop Scott and Ms. Young have a lot to think about, a lot to consider, and a lot to cover, especially if they're going to represent District 5.
And they'll represent for 15 months, right? 15 months. But I'm pretty sure one of them at least will try to run again for the seat. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Next call.
Go ahead, caller. You're on Sunday Forum.
Hey, how you doing, bro? How y'all doing today?
All right.
Pretty good.
Okay. Hey, you know, the tragedy here is the devil is in the detail. And in this case with Donald Trump and that settlement that he called the mini settlement, there are no details. There never has and never will.
Right.
As in anything that he puts his hand on, you know, it's all about show. It's just as when you saw the Hank Sturmer, I believe it was, agreement that he had signed, and when it fell out of his hand, it was nothing but a blank sheet of papers. And that's what this administration has done. This is all show and stuffing he and his family's pockets with the fortunes of the money that they can grab. And you see this movie, what he does is so clever, you know. And Brother Walter said before, they shout the N-word the loudest and then turn around. I don't care about any of these people, and then grab and have them the most incompetent. We've seen this over the history and stuff. And as far as these, I don't know if you've noticed, but a couple of weeks ago, there was here in Tampa. I know my brother and I talked about this. All of a sudden, there was this major force of warplanes in the way, flying south, and that happened about 2 weeks ago and stuff. And he said, "Hey, there was something. What's going on here? You know, this formation of fighter planes and cargo material flying in the air from the, you know." And he began to say, "Hey, you know, they must be building up to something." And of course, now we're talking about going to war, calling the very same people you want to call the N-word and DEI and all of that. They want them to now sacrifice and send bullets and take bullets for this country. But you know, I one thing I also got to say is that we shouldn't be surprised. But America gets what it deserves. It bought into this stuff. They knew what this man was like. He told you that he was going to rip you off. He told you he was going to fire your job, and you voted for him anyways. You know, I always say every week, you had a more than competent, more than knowledgeable white woman run for president. You voted against her. And you had a more than competent, more knowledgeable woman of color. Vote, and you voted against her. And then notwithstanding the fact that you had an old, decrepit, non-decrepit, very progressive white man in office. And what did you do? You ran him out of office, said that, you know, he couldn't speak or something like that. And then you put a candidate in there, but she did a pretty good job. But again, you voted for him over the more the old, beat up, more than knowledgeable, non-decrepit white man. Mm-hmm. So we get exactly what we deserve in this country, and this racism that is going on has come back to haunt us. Racism and sexism has coming back to haunt us. And that's something else I wanted to tell you too. You know, you talk about Puerto Rico all the time. I want you to pull up the word about the thing about everything we talk about. Cornelius Rhoads, Rhoads, who said a Harvard-trained physician who deliberately in 1930s gave Puerto Ricans. Puerto Rico went down to Puerto Rico and gave Puerto Ricans cancer. And in this country, he became a hero with the Sloan Kettering Institute, but, you know, whatever. But totally the same attitude. This guy was a Joseph Mengele for Puerto Ricans. He did do all kinds of experiments. He called them trash. It was a beautiful island, but the people in Puerto Rico were a piece of garbage. And then in Panama, this guy did experiments on Puerto Ricans and folks in Panama at St. Joe's Island and stuff on what we call mustards, nitrogenous mustard. And here's the ironic thing. Those experiments that they did on gas warfare became the foundation of what we call oncology. Of chemotherapy, and that we found that they reduced the size of the lymphs and stuff. And so there are many drugs that, chlorambucil was one of the pharmaceuticals that came out of this experiment on primarily Puerto Ricans, and this is the same for people of color. And Cornelius Rhoads was treated as a hero in this, and until he's been exposed to it. I mean, you have relatives in Puerto Rico, and I think that you know about this man who, out of New York, Sloan Kettering, that years ago they removed everything they tried to hit him, but his history needs to be told, because we got a lot of Cornelius Rhoads that are coming up and are being that are coming up in this administration, the field of medicine, and the intense effort of the DEA and those folks to take control of medical science and deny us health care. That's all I got to say, brother. I'm finished preaching this morning.
All right, thank you for your call.
Praise God. Well, as we come to the close of the first half of the show, I got to tell you, I'm reminded of MB. You there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm reminded of Rudy Ray Moore. Right?
Yeah.
This regime is led by a man who will fart in the bathtub and turn around and bite the bubbles. There's no way that you could possibly think that it's okay to do the things you're doing, and then it's like you throw a rock and hide your hand. You do the dirt, you wallow in it, right? You do the dirt, you wallow in it and act like, and then do a Jedi mind trick like you didn't do it.
Yeah, make it somebody else's fault.
Yeah. This is an illness.
Right.
This isn't sanity. It's illness.
Well, despite that anti-intellectualism, a lot of people have woken up and was in the street yesterday by the millions.
Absolutely. I'm very glad to see it happen. Sorry, I could not participate, but there were enough there to stand in the gap.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely there enough there to stand in the gap, and I definitely support the sentiment 110%. So, what gets me as well is the fact that there was a dinner that was being held, and I believe at Mar-a-Lago, and one of those expensive dinners that he was holding, a fundraiser of some sort, and that this guy who's leading this regime goes and does an AI video, uploads an AI video of him flying over the American people and taking a dump on them with a crown on his head in a fighter plane.
Yesterday was an opportunity to be theatrical. It's probably why a lot of people participated.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, folks, thank you for joining us. If we have any callers, please hang tight. We'll get back to you.